I am.
If you're ready, please kick off.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I don't know if you guys introduced me already or not, but my name is Alberto. Okay, thank you. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, my name is Alberto. I'm from Spain originally, but I'm living in the Netherlands for almost 13 years. And I'm the founder and chief purpose officer of Just on Purpose. A lot of purpose here today, also at the event. So that's great to see. And I'm gonna spend this time with you all, talking about purpose. But as I can see, like, some presentations in both streams, actually Talent Trends, but also L&D, they talk about organization, company purpose. And I have to say that's the easy part, within brackets basically. But I can go to a company to give a workshop, and in a couple of hours you have a purpose statement, or you can do it on your own. You can hire someone else. So that's, I think, the easiest part. I see the most complex one to really help your people, your employees, understand or uncover their own individual purpose, and make that link, that alignment between their individual purpose with their team's purpose and their company's purpose. So what I'm going to do today is a small version of a workshop that I normally do with companies and teams. Try to squeeze it in much shorter time, but hopefully give you practical tools to help your people, starting that journey of discovery of their own individual purpose. So before that, I'm going to share just briefly about myself. My background is in sales, like for almost 20 years, working in sales leadership roles. And if I go a bit even more backwards, I studied something I didn't want to study. I wanted to be a sports teacher, but my father didn't like the idea. And he told me, how are you going to make money with that, right? So I ended up studying something else. I did a bachelor and master's in something I didn't really like that much, but I had to do it. And then I just wanted to work, and I started in sales. That was pure coincidence. That was the first job I found. And since then, almost 20 years doing sales. And I always say the same, almost 20 years in sales, and I don't like sales, or at least I don't like sales completely. I like a lot of components from selling, which is the human touch and helping people with what I was selling to them. But there are many things that I didn't like. So throughout this journey, I struggle with this. And I really ask myself in many occasions, even though I was successful in every job I had and every company, I had a good career, I went into management, leadership, and things like that. But I had this feeling of unfulfillment still and unhappiness, even though I liked some things of it, of course. So I asked myself, how can I do something that is not selling, that is not related to sales? And it was a very, very difficult journey for myself. In the end, I developed an exercise or methodology, if you want to call it that way, to help me uncovering or discovering my own purpose. And that works, and that's what I do now with Just on Purpose. So I help organizations, teams, and leaders with the same thing, uncovering their purpose and transform into a more purpose-led organization, leadership, or yes, team. So I'm going to try to do this very practical. So if it was a workshop rather than a talk, so the first thing, I'm going to ask you some questions along the process. And the first one is this, and you actually need to answer. And how you're going to do that? Well, using Mentimeter. So we are going to open up Mentimeter, and you need to submit your answers there. So the question as you can see, is what are you grateful for? Okay, you need to go to mentee.com, again, mentee.com, and use the code 6619889. Again, I repeat the code 6619889. There you will see this question, what are you grateful for? Think about it and just write down the first things that come to your mind. You have the possibility to put up to 5 answers in there. So make sure that you put as many as you can before hitting the submit button. And then we will start seeing the results, hopefully, here online. So we have the first ones: my work, health, children, my wife, family, health, nature, love, friends, nature, colleagues, role, my work. It's great to see, some people already submitting this. What are you grateful for? Maybe if you want to put it in a different way, what's most important to me, right? Oftentimes we are busy, right? We are always busy with meetings and work and family and all that, and we don't think about this stuff. So to be able to find or uncover your own purpose, you need to start taking the time to do so and to think about this stuff. So we see more results coming, being able to appreciate children, nature, again, my family is healthy, satisfying job, supportive family. So I'm going into the smaller. You see, there's a word cloud. Of course, you get it. The bigger the words are, the more commonly are used to respond to this question. So this is great, and I think the common thing which doesn't move that much is family and health from the core. Friends, also an important one. So health, being healthy, we have a lot of different terminologies for that, but it's the same. And well, that's great. So you can see when you ask people, random people, I don't know who is in the call, a lot of different people, different backgrounds, different cultures. And when you ask this single question, which is a simple one to ask, maybe not that simple to answer, or maybe for some people is, well, it's all about health, family, friends, nature, love, if you will, work, results. And we are going to go back to the presentation. And I ask this question in pretty much all of my workshops, and what you are seeing today, or sorry, right now here on the screen, is a different Mentimeter that I used. 104 people responded, and if you have a look, you see that the results are pretty much the same, right? Well, no matter if I'm asking senior leaders at an organization or just random people in different industries, people without a job, they all respond the same thing. So we have health, family, love, friends, nature. Well, what interests me the most is okay, when we are asked what's most important to you, we have these answers. But it seems that most of us live our lives not giving the time to what's most important to us. And we are busy always with making a career. I don't see the word career there, or money, or, a bigger house, a bigger car, or these kind of things, right? And it seems that many people in the world are chasing the wrong things, when the most important things to them, maybe they don't realize because they don't ask themselves this question, is health, family, love, and something that they already have that they don't need to chase. But that said, and we are in a good mood, right? But I'm sorry to tell you to bring you the bad news. We are all going to die at some point. Hopefully no one in this session. Didn't happen yet in one of my workshops, so keep it that way, please. But there is only someone said that there is only one certain thing in life, which is death. And that's totally true, and it's nothing wrong with thinking about this and having it in mind, because that's the reason why we need to live, and we need to stay true to ourselves. So that's what we need to also tell our people, that they need to get the most out of their lives, and that needs to be uncovered as well. What drives them, what gives them energy, and then we will talk about the link with the company. But one of the first or the things that inspired me the most through my journey was this research. There's a book from Ronnie Ware. It's called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. It's a beautiful book. So if you want to read it, I really, really recommend it. But basically, what you see in there are the top 5 regrets of the dying. The first one is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And that's exactly what was happening to me. So that really resonated with me. And of course, if you keep on going, I wish I hadn't worked so hard, expressed my feelings, had the courage to express them, be more in touch with my friends, again, relationships, and let myself be happier. Don't chase the wrong things. But if I go to the first one, the top regret of people facing death, she was accompanying, by the way, people during the last weeks of their lives. So she started to have these conversations with them, and then that's why she wrote this book. So I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And if I want to translate this, I could do it into I wish I had followed my purpose, right? And know more about myself. So when people ask me, how can you know what your purpose is? Well, everything starts with taking the time, and then after that, or together with that, starts with knowing more about yourself. And for you, that's knowing more about your people. One question to help them do that, and to help you as a leader do that as well, learn what drives them, is this question. And you can ask this yourself. We don't have a Mentimeter now, but just maybe if you have a notebook or something, you can write the answer if you have it in mind. But if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you start doing today? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you start doing today? If you ask people in your organization, if you ask about, what was your dream? What was what you wanted to do? Probably they don't say, I really wanted to work for this company and do the job I'm doing. Many or some of them might be the case, right? But most of them don't. So trying to understand what they want to do, that's also a thing that is valuable for them, but also for you as a leader, because then you can use it. And then we will talk about this a bit later. Another source of inspiration through my journey was the Blue Zones research. And I don't know if you heard about this, but basically this was research done by National Geographic in the US, together with a couple of organizations. There is a beautiful TED Talk from Dan Buettner, who was leading this research, and I highly recommend to watch it. And I watched it several years ago, and that inspired me a lot. So the research, basically, they wanted to see where in the world people live longer. And they realized that only 10% of how long an average person lives is based on genetics, and 90% is based on their lifestyle. They also realized that the life expectancy in several parts of the world, but especially in Western Europe, for example, was about 81.5 years old. And science tells us that the body can live up to around 90 years old. So, they were saying, there's some years that we leave behind. Why is that? So they started this research, and they found what they call the Blue Zones, which were initially 4 spots in the world. It's not countries. It's just like sometimes it's a group of villages, very, very small environments. In California, Costa Rica, Sardinia, and Okinawa. Then they added another one in Greece. And they realized, the proportion of centenarians, people living more than 100 years old and 90 years old, was much, much higher than anywhere else in the world. So they went to all these places, and then they started to interview all these people about their lives and what they ate when they were young, how was it, how did they exercise, and a lot of interesting questions. And they found nine, what they call the power nine, 9 factors, 9 habits of people, of these people that they believe made them live longer. But it's not only that they live longer, they also seem to be happier and healthier. So they suffer from much less from diseases, terminal diseases that we all know, like such as cancer and some others, than anywhere else in the world as well. So they have all these 9 factors, and we could go through all of them, but there is one that I personally believe, that helps with the other 8, and that's they all knew their purpose. They all knew what their contribution to others and to the world maybe was. So that really inspired me, and especially in Okinawa in Japan, it's a beautiful place, and they found a word. There was a similar word in Costa Rica, which was plan de vida. So when you talk about purpose, they had a plan de vida. In Okinawa, they had a word which was Ikigai. And Ikigai, Iki comes from life, and Gai, worth. So make your life worth it could be translated, but people translate this into the reason why you wake up in the morning. So let me ask you that, why do you wake up in the morning? Do you know that? Do you think about that? And the problem is that, if I'm based in The Hague in the Netherlands, if I go now on the streets, I go to the central station and see people and start asking, hey, what's your purpose? Why do you wake up in the morning? I think most people won't have an answer, because unfortunately, they don't think about this, right? And having clarity about this, with being happier and living longer. There's a lot of research. It's not just me saying this, but there is a lot of research about how being purpose-driven or having a sense of purpose helps you living longer, healthy, and happier. So is it purpose, or is it Ikigai, or what is all this about? Well, what I think is that it's a combination of, it is a similar thing, and doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter how we call it. It's more about, understanding the reason why we do what we do. And no matter if it's as a person, if it's as a company, you really need to understand the impact that you are making, whether you realize it or not, on others and on the world. So purpose, it's perceived, especially in Western European cultures or Western cultures, as something that we don't have yet, that we need to achieve. Whereas Ikigai is more about realizing what we have already and appreciating that to be closer to our own purpose. So I think purpose needs to be the combination of these, and more. It is more important that we don't need to chase the wrong things. We just need to be aware of what we already have, appreciate it, and also be aware of what gives us energy. So that's very important. So this is the exercise that I developed. The things at the core is inspired by a Venn diagram. That's from a purpose diagram originally. There is a book about the Ikigai as well. It's a beautiful book, and they replaced basically the word purpose in the middle here by Ikigai when they published the book. The book, by the way, the book Ikigai is also inspired on the Blue Zones research, and they have also a book which I find also more interesting. So, but I work with leaders, I work with teams, and I use this as a core for helping them to uncover their own purpose. And the first 2 questions at the top on the post-its, you are the first questions that I asked you. What are you grateful for? And if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you start doing? Then at the bottom you have what makes me happy, and then what drives me to flow. And of course, there's a lot of explanations that go into that, but the circle's at the core, right? Purpose can be seen as something that you love doing, that you are good at, that the world needs, and that you can get paid for. So that's what that means. The words love, good, need, and paid. So something you love to do, what you love to do, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. So the combination of those is where you can have your purpose. I always say the same. The most important one is the one at the top, the love. If you don't love what you do, then you will always carry on with life and still sometimes feel unhappy and unfulfilled. So it is important with start with what you love doing, and then try to understand more the impact that you make, and then your talents. And then the paid, I always say that is the less important one, because you can get paid by doing almost anything. There are people in Japan that are paid for making people cry or making people laugh. So if you can do that and get paid for that, that's shows already that you can get paid for pretty much everything. So how can you align the individual purpose with the company purpose? So you need to have clarity in both. But what is really important is what I said before. People didn't dream about working for your company when they were younger, right? So ask them about their dream. And I did this with my teams when I was leading them. I asked them, well, what's your dream job? It's not working for my company, for this company, I know it's not, What could you do if you couldn't fail? And they share this and with me and with each other, and that was so inspiring for everyone. And my role as a leader was to help them get closer to that, with the job they were doing within my team for my organization. So the real role of the leader is to make your people see how doing what they are doing for you, for your company, can help them in the longer term or middle term or even short term to get closer to their dreams, to their purpose. And if you achieve that, you will make them happier. You will be in a happier place. Everyone will feel inspired. And in the end, everyone will leave. If you don't do this, at some point, people will leave your company, will leave your team. But by doing this, it's not that they will leave actually sooner. You build even more engagement with them, and they usually stay longer. They are more productive, and they are happier working for your company. So a couple of takeaways I share with them, go into nature, find out about, or think about these things, get inspired, think about what's important to you, make your priorities clear, take your time to uncover it. It's nothing that you can force, but it's good to take action, to do things about it. The purpose is nothing set in stone. It can evolve. What it is important to you right now can change in 2 years' time, in 5 or 10 years' time, and your purpose can change as well. I think the core doesn't change that much, or it's more difficult to change. But how you deliver on your purpose. For me, my personal purpose is to help people. Being happier and more successful, and basically be happier. I can deliver on that doing what I do, or I could be teaching, surfing, giving surfing lessons at the beach, and I would be also very happy. But my priority is my family and all that. So all combined, I decided to go with what I'm doing, and I love doing right now. If you don't know what to do, just do something, take action, and then you will find the inspiration to shape it and to go maybe in a different way. And ultimately, it's not up to the company, it's up to you. You need to create your path, and the company can help you with resources, but it's you with your attitude, your energy, who can even inspire the company and other people and the leadership team even to be more purpose driven. And the last one is live your own life, not the lives others expect of you. So that was me. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, or drop me a message. And hopefully you found this presentation interesting, and